What's going on, everybody? We got the worst deck of the format. Everybody hates seeing this guy, but he's still cooking. We got Juan here. He got first place at the sneak peek here at Game Quest. Give it away, Juan. What you play?
All right, guys. Well, I realized that Droll is probably the best card in the format right now. And a lot of ways to counter Droll is Shifter. So Shifter and Droll are two big cards that I took into account going into this event for the pre-release, sneak peek, whatever. And I wanted to play a deck that could do both and still survive without completely losing to one of those two cards. And Branded is the deck. And obviously, as you see right here, Puppet is the best card in the game. I never resolved this card and lost. There was never a time where I even attempted to do it and I lost because the deck is way too nuts the way I built it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So all jokes aside, Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. It's a really good card. Summon it to your opponent's board, you win the game. Win con of the deck, so don't let this card touch the board. Next we got the Heart and Soul of the deck, Aluber. Searches out any branded spell or trap. There was a lot of times where I would just go to the main phase and summon Aluber, just to bait out a Droll. Just so if I didn't have an Adir Servant, I would Aluber in the main phase every time, just so I could get that Droll out of their hand. And all your branded stuff you can set, so it doesn't really matter. Next, we got 2 Fallen of Albaz. This is a big change from what I've been playing in the past for about a year. I played 3 Albaz consistency, religiously, and part of me just told me to take it out to 2. And when you do play 2, you got to be so careful, just because your follow-up plays might be way, way, way different without it. Just in case if you draw one of these, you only can Brand Fusion once technically, so you always got to shuffle back Albaz. And there are plays, if you do Gimmick Puppet play, a lot of the times I will just use this and then I'll just banish it with Albion to make the Sanctifier. Those plays you got to be careful because now you can only Brand Fusion one more time. But still, it was awesome. You didn't need more. So yeah, 2 is 2. Cartesia 2, this is a really good card. Stops you from getting Impermed, Veilered, Mournered. The card is just nuts. Then this card kind of brought the deck back to life. I know a lot of people are running this card right now, but this is still probably the best card in Branded. To bring back Mirror Jades, to bring back Cartesias, to bring back an Albaz. There's so many things you can do. My first round of game 1 in the sneak peek, I didn't have nothing, so I had to just pass on like a droplet. Not a droplet, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what I passed on, but I passed on basically nothing. And for turn 3, I drew this, sent a Branded Fusion, and then I used the Fusion Duplication to duplicate it, and ultimately became a Branded Fusion. So this card does so many things that you would never think of. Lastly, we got a Maximus here. Maximus is pretty self-explanatory. Nadir, send 2 more, get you pluses. The 1 Magician, he's really, really, really important for the deck. I believe Dragoon is the best card in this deck, minus Sanctifier. So if you cannot win, this card will win you the game. And also under Shifter, that's how you can just Lubellion. These will both get banished, and Lubellion just put it right back. So you always have ways to make a Dragoon. And that helps you play under Shifter. And a Dragoon is just super hard to out. Most of the decks that play Shifter can't out a Dragoon at all. 2 Ash, 2 Bell. I only wanted to play, I was playing 3 Ash for a really long time and I was running 41 cards, but I decided to cut Ash down to 2 just because it does help my opponent with all their tactics cards. Helps the fire decks plus with the new stuff. So this card you have to main just because I'm playing a card in the main deck to help me survive. But this card is really good because Bell is one of the only cards you lose to right now. So you technically don't really lose to Ash right now just because of the way I built the deck. And Bell is the card you do lose to. You can make an argument to run at least 1 Crow. I was thinking about playing 1 Crow in the main as I have played throughout the tournaments, but it hasn't come up yet, so I'm just going to keep it at that ratio. Next, we're going to go to the branded spells. We got 3 openings. Heart and Soul, gets you Aluber, gets you Quem. You could use it in the draw phase. There was times where I stopped the Kieran from popping my cards in the graveyard, so opening does a lot for the deck. The best card of the deck, Branded Fusion. Unfortunately, I sold my ultis because I really hated this deck for a while, but yeah, I can't let this deck go. So I just played the supers that came out of the structure deck. So don't hate on me. Branded in red. This is one of the cards that I've loved since the deck came out, and it's so weird playing it at 1 because I do really like the card, and it's probably one of the only cards that can get you Quem back, but we're just going to keep it at 1 because it's pretty stable and you really don't do nothing on its own. So Fusion deployment is really solid. 99% of the time this is just going to get you Cartesia, but there are weird instances where you could, I've beamed out a Dark Magician before and then just beat over a Little Knight and then go on and fuse and then keep going, and then a lot of people just have no idea what the hell you're doing when you summon a Dark Magician. So it's pretty crazy. Or you could just summon an Albaz, bait out a negate, and then if it goes to the graveyard, you can special summon Cartesia from your hand and then fuse again. And you just do so much with the deck because of this card. Next, we're playing 3 Nadirs. Nadir is very solid. We're not playing the one card Nadir Puppet Lock, just because I don't have that much space in my extra deck to play two average cards. Every card that I played has to make an impact in my deck, and I just don't think Bucephalus and the Brigand are good enough to play. But Nadir is probably one of the best cards minus Branded Fusion. Next, we got 3 Thrust. This is literally Branded Fusion, however you see it. Every time your opponent does anything to you, you're going to get a Branded Fusion. If you already got a Branded Fusion, get Nadir, get whatever you want. So it's just, this card is, it's worth every penny. Honestly, worth every penny. This card is MVP. The 1 talents, just in case you're going second, and there are games where I opened Nadir and Branded Fusion, and I just went talents, took a monster, took a card out of my opponent's hand. Very rare instances, I do want to draw 2 cards because a lot of the time Branded just needs to break the board, and then they can just set up so much more after that. So if you can't access Engine via Nadir or Branded Fusion, then your board's going to be very weak anyways, so you just need to take resources away from your opponent. Next, we run the 2 crossouts and the 1 called by. Like I said, stopping an Ash is pretty cool, just because you can thrust on top of stopping that Ash, so now you basically have 2 Branded Fusions. So it guarantees you Dragoon plus Puppet Lock, which is always game. So if you do draw a crossout or called by with a Branded Fusion and a thrust, which is like a 3-card combo, but it still happens, you're guaranteed Puppet Lock with a Dragoon. So that's really solid. Then we got 2 Super Polys. This card was MVP. This card just took so many cards away from my opponent. Yeah, this card is MVP. So I don't really know what to say. Lastly, we played 2 Duality. I did cut this card down from 3 to 2. I do believe this card is really good. This plus Branded Fusion is a 2-card Puppet Lock. So, and it does put resources back, which are really, really important. This is probably the main reason why I have bumped up Branded in red to 2. Just because you could put back the Quem, and there's not very many things that can put back Quem. And a lot of the things in the deck are dark, so Quem being light, and you normally never want to shuffle back your Cartesia because it can always come back to your hand for resources for Dragoon or just to keep fusing. But the Quem is really good to put back. So Duality, really MVP. It could turn a Maximus into a Dragoon. It could turn Grand Guignol into a Dragoon. It can turn Albion into the other Albion, and then just basically Puppet Lock your opponent. So, and the last card of the deck being the Saving Grace, Fusion Duplication. This card is literally just Branded Fusion. So there's nothing to say about it. There was so many games I won. This card is not a brick. If you draw it, you just set it and you're golden. You can do anything. You can Fusion Duplicate the spell that summons Cartesia. What is it? Fusion Deployment. So you can Fusion Deployment on your opponent's turn, summon an Albaz, and fuse away with their monsters. Like, this card is not dead at all. This card is super insane. Probably the main reason why this deck did so well at the sneak peek. Plays around Ash, plays around so many good cards. I actually think I got belled on this and I had to cross out the bell. So it's it's super nuts that this card has everything built in it to win through an Ash Blossom. So there are times where I got Ash Blossom and just passed with like a Fusion Duplication set, and then I still was able to Puppet Lock or summon a Mirror Jade plus a Chimera. So that's that. Next, we're gonna go into the spice, which it's not really spicy. Albion. Albion's, there's nothing to say. There was a time I got Rivalry, and if I would have cleared one more monster, I was gonna be able to lock him into an attribute he didn't have. So it would have been really, really good, but obviously that didn't happen. But still, Sanctifier can summon cards to my opponent's board. Obviously, not just Puppet. There was time where I give my opponent just cards to put on their board via Kashtira, so they can't out me. And yeah, it's really, really solid. The one Mirror Jade, I think I only summoned this maybe like once, maybe twice. The entire sneak peek. This card is definitely not the boss monster anymore, so don't run 2. If people tell you to run 2, they're probably lying. They probably don't play the deck enough. 2 Albions. This card's nuts. You probably use both every single time. There probably is an argument to run 3 just because it's that good, but 2 does the job. Next one, Lubellion. Basically plays around the shifter, summons your Dragoon. There's a lot of ways to summon Dragoon in this deck, but this card does it as well. And it's always good to have that utility. It's one of the only ways you can put back Albaz. So the Titaniclad, I think I super polyed for this card one time. Anything over 25, so it's pretty good. Also, this is what gets you your Quem. This is what gets you rolling in the end phase. So this card, I chose to play this card via the fire decks are in the format right now, and it's really good against Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast. So you can basically just poly away for anything, and then it's a bounce and a negate. So I thought it was going to be good. It never came up. I sent it to the graveyard once to try to get the Albaz effect engraved. But yeah, it came up once, but I don't think it won me the game. So I'm just going to say if there is a card to cut, it would be this, but there's nothing else to put into place. Next, we're going to play the 1 Dragoon. Hell, I think you can cut the rim for a second Dragoon. Honestly, Dragoon is amazing. Dragoon is probably the MVP of the deck. It's like I'm telling you, if it's Albion or it's Dragoon, you're probably winning the game with one of those 2 monsters on board. So don't be afraid. Make this card as much as you can. Not a lot of decks can out this right now, so yeah. Next, we're going to play the 1 Granguignol. Granguignol's pretty good. Basically, the only thing to fuse off Cartesia turn 1. Sends a card from the extra deck or main deck via Puppet, or you can send Albion to the graveyard, or you can send Titaniclad to get you your Quem during your end phase, and then this tags itself out for a Despia monster in the extra deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. Then the 1 Drago. This play came up once with the Quem sending the Aluber and the Mirror Jade to fuse for this, dodging a Lightning Storm, and then I was able to bring back the Mirror Jade again from the Quem. So that was a pretty cool play. It came up, also a good super poly target, so pretty good. Another super poly target, Mudragon. This came up probably the most out of everything. Card's nuts, protects attributes from being targeted. Garua, best dual utility card. It's a super poly card. It's an Nadir card. You use this card almost every single game, every single time. Whether it's for Nadir, whether it's to Fusion for super poly, this card almost gets sent to the graveyard almost every single game. Also, you could put it back to a duality. You could put, a lot of times I put the Granguignol Garua back, drew a card, and then just made another Granguignol set again, and then drew another card. The 1 Antis for the Nadir. The 1 Chimera. This card, like I said, doesn't come up as much either because you're not trying to make the Mirror Jade play, but it does come up to where sometimes the Puppet Lock is not the best, and or you were missing one piece of your combo, so sometimes you can just end on this plus an Albion, and then Albion will summon an Albaz, fuse away, and then you can just go into a Mirror Jade plus Chimera. That play happened a couple times. This doesn't happen as often as it used to happen, but you cannot cut this card at all because this card is amazing. It draws you cards, pops you cards, non-targeting. So it basically is just something to be responded to, and it's still pretty good if you draw the Brand of Fusion plus Branded in red going second. You're able to summon a Dragoon plus a Chimera, just sending the Dark Magician and then shuffle everything back, and then board wipe, banish the Albaz plus this, and then you can just make so much with opening the Branded in red in addition to a Brand of Fusion. And then we're going to play the one Lulu Willith. This card's basically dual utility. It either summons you out of Cartesia during the end phase or to negate off the Granguignol. I didn't really send it to the graveyard this much via Nadir or Maximus, just because I do appreciate having the Granguignol banished, because a lot of monsters do summon themselves now. So you have a permanent negate, permanent 500, attack, and then, yeah, it's still good. And if it does leave the field, it still floats to another Cartesia. So, but I did value Quem this event over Cartesia, which is why I sent Titanclad a little bit more. That's it for the main deck. I normally don't show side deck. Sometimes I do, but I realize that this is very important for the sneak peek and what I think of moving forward. And obviously the main deck staple is 2 Droll and Lockbirds. Or 3 Droll and Lockbirds, I'm sorry. Card is amazing. Stops 90% of the decks in the format. Minus Labyrinth and minus this. So, yeah, you can use this against 90% of the decks and win. Then we're going to play 2 DD Crow. Like I said, I might play 1 in the main deck, so that way I have access to 3. But this card was pretty good too. Just hitting a card out of your opponent's graveyard at any time. Doesn't have to be a monster, so that's why I think Bestials are kind of dying out. A lot of people are either playing this or Bell, so I had to put it somewhere, so I decided to put it in the side. The 2 win buttons, if you're playing a trap deck, I just summon Jinzo. If you're playing Runic of any sort, I just summon Invader. So Invader says quick spells cannot be activated. This says negate all traps. So those are those 2 cards. And then we're going to play 2 Dark Rulers. I'm not sure if I would change these because they were very average. I might keep 1 Dark Ruler and play 1 more, the one that outs the Pearly card, the Herald of the Abyss, just because we do have 3 Thrust and you have access to both. Then we had 3 Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched is really good against a lot of good decks. You're able just to evenly them because they'll activate a card at any point in the game, and then you just Thrust Search. So there was a time that I took this out of the side deck, and I do realize I was wrong. So I keep this back. And then lastly, the card that was really MVP was 3 Droplets. This card was awesome all day. Did everything it needed to do. Basically got rid of board presence, dropped attacks. So this card was MVP in the side. I don't think I'd move it to the main just because, like I said, there's not room in the main. I keep it at 40. Basically just cut an Ash Blossom. So yeah, that's the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. Also, I wanted to tell you guys about the pack giveaway. I'm doing it for the whole month of February. So every video that me and Carlos upload, you are able to comment. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And then for me, I want you to put the deck you're playing this format post Phantom Nightmare. Just tell me the deck you're playing, and that'll get you entered in our drawing for the month of February. You can go back on the past videos and comment. You can comment on this one. You can like, please. Just subscribe and comment for what deck you're playing, and you will enter into the giveaway. Also, we're about to give away a mat at 150 subs. So if we can get to 150 subs, you will get this black pack. Some lucky winner will get the black pack, and you have 3 entry chances. So if you comment and like, and obviously you're going to be subscribed, I will allow you to enter 3 videos with 3 comments for 3 chances to win 15 of these. And if we get to 150, I'll give away this pack as well. All right, guys. Well, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. My matchups were round 1, it was Fire King. Round 2, I believe I played Infernity. That deck was really scary. It literally almost beat me because I don't play hand traps. But definitely sided them in, and they did the job. Round 3, I believe I played Heroes round 4, and I'm not sure what I played round 3, but I played Heroes round 4, and he was a really good player. He knocked out our other Fire King wanted player, and I was very surprised with that. But his deck was really solid. It was meant to OTK. It played Drolls, Nibs, Imperms. Basically played the whole 9 yards for hand traps. So it was just tearing people up board by board. But shout out to the hero player. He did really well. I had a better game. So that's it. The deck performed really well. There wasn't a deck I really felt like posed a threat to this deck, just because Super Poly is a really good card. Thrust is a really good card, going first or second, and there's not very many decks that can utilize Thrust as heavy, because a lot of decks are playing just setting like an Imperm or like a Daruma Cannon or something like that. But this deck can fully take advantage, because Branded Fusion is the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, alright guys, this is Juan from the Yadalock, signing out. Peace!